Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of council. This is Wednesday, 21st of April, 2021 at 1 p.m. And a declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Seeing none. We'll move on to the resolution. It's moved by Andrew, seconded by John Hoyle. Be it hereby resolved the special meeting of council of the town of Laurentian Hills do now move to hold a public meeting pursuant to section 34 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990 as amended, to consider an application to amendment to the town's comprehensive zoning at 1:02 p.m. All in favor? And carried. So before we move on, I would like to welcome everyone. And the purpose of today's public meeting is to hear an application for a zoning bylaw amendment for 202654 Ontario Inc. We want to receive your comments and gather information for consideration before a decision on the application is made. Today's virtual meeting will follow the set agenda. This is the first time we've done something like this, so please bear with us, and I'm sure we can bear with you too. So everyone participating on the Zoom are requested to remain muted until you are recognized to speak. So please, everyone, please remain muted until you are asked to speak. When the public comments are received, you'll be given approximately 5 minutes to speak in opposition to or in support of the application. Please raise your hand to speak, and for the record, please state your name and your address. There will be no rebuttals between any parties. Any appropriate language will not be tolerated. Before I ask the planning coordinator to provide an overview of the applicant's file, I'll ask the clerk to speak to some of the provisions of the Planning Act relevant to today's meeting. So, clerk, if you could do that for me, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. One of the purposes of the Planning Act is to provide for planning processes that are open, accessible, timely, and efficient. All written submissions, documents, correspondence, emails, or other communications, including names and addresses, form part of the public record and may be made available to anyone requesting such information. Accordingly, in providing such information, you shall be deemed to have consented to its use and disclosure as part of the planning process. Any person or public body who made an oral submission at a public meeting or written submission before the decision or passage of a zoning bylaw may appeal the decision of the Council of the Town of Laurentian Hills to the local planning appeal tribunal. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at a public meeting or make a written submission before the decision or passage of the zoning bylaw, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the tribunal, unless in the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to do so. Any person wishing to be notified of the decision of council on the proposed zoning bylaw amendment must make a written request to the town to receive the decision. Requests can be submitted to the clerk by email at info@laurentianhills.ca. The clerk must provide notice of council's decision to all of those who have requested a copy within 15 days after the day the decision has been made. An appeal of council's decision to the tribunal may be filed with the clerk of the town not later than 20 days after the day that the notice of decision was given and must be accompanied by the appropriate fee.
Thank you very much. I would now like to ask the planning coordinator to provide an overview of the zoning bylaw amendment application.
Thank you, Your Worship. Firstly, I'd like to advise Council that, as required under Section 34 of the Planning Act, notification of the application to amend the town's zoning bylaw and public meeting were circulated to the adjacent property owners within 120 meters of the property, as well as prescribed public bodies, and the property was posted on March 31st, 2020. There has been one written submission with 4 signatures and 2 individual written submissions received in favor of the application, and there have been 11 written submissions received in opposition of the application, as well as a petition that was also submitted. Now, this zoning by application applies to residentially zoned property, 5.42 acres, described as part of Lot 1, Concession 8 in Buchanan. It is located at the east end of Wilson Street and Chalk River, fronts on Bob Sagan Drive, behind 10 residential lots. The rear property line is entirely adjacent to a 38-acre wooded property that is zoned rural. There are 2 20-meter accesses onto Bob Sagan Drive. Under the official plan, the property is designated as village community. The owners have applied to rezone the property from residential first density to general commercial, with an exception to permit the installation of self-storage units on the property. Under the official plan, the village community designation does permit the use of, I'll read exactly what the wording is so the policy contained in this section are intended to maintain the role of the villages as focal points for the agricultural and rural communities, and to encourage development of the village communities as an alternative location for residential, commercial, light industrial, and institutional uses. In addition to the urban communities, the village communities shall also be a focus of growth through the county, providing a focal point to the surrounding rural and agricultural communities where growth is limited. So this amendment does meet the requirements of the official plan, as it is a permitted use in a village community area. Now, when we get to the zoning bylaw, it does not meet the requirements of the zoning bylaw as such. It does meet the requirements as far as the required frontage, lot frontage on a municipally maintained road, and any plan that would be submitted would have to meet the required setbacks of the zoning bylaw. The only outstanding area of contention would be the actual permitted use of the buildings, where self-storage units are not permitted at this time. So basically, it's up to council to hear any arguments for and against and make their decisions. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them from council and your worship.
Thank you very much, Gord. So, because I don't see all of the faces up there, I'm going to do up a comment here first. I'm going to ask for comments from the public next. The written submissions received up to the start of this meeting have all been distributed to council and are part of the public record. I would like to start public comments with anyone who did not provide a written submission but wishes to make an oral presentation to council. So is there anyone who would like to speak who did not provide a written submission? Could you please raise your hand? We have,
Your worship, we have Paul Boutin.
okay. Paul, could you please
If you could unmute yourself.
please unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. And I just want to point out that we have a timeline of 5 minutes. And at the 3-minute mark, I will let you know that you have 2 minutes remaining. Thank you. Please go ahead, Paul.
Hello, my name is Paul Boutin. I live at 49 Joseph Street. Is this working?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. I live just down the road from this as well, and I don't think I think it's great to have this in the town. I just think this is the wrong location. It's a nice quiet street. There's lots of kids playing, like COVID aside, mind you, but like I think this could bring the wrong kind of traffic in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay, just short and simple.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who have not provided a written submission that would like to speak? Please raise your hand. See none? Sorry. Jay Kellerman, did you wish to speak?
Yes, I would. I have 4 quick questions for the council in regards. Josh Kellerman, I live at 15 Meeker Street.
I'm sorry, we're not here to answer any questions today. We're here to listen and hear what the residents have to say.
I do have a few things I'd like to say in regards to the location of this, as it is in my backyard, along with a few other people here. Just more, again, following Paul's comments, it is a quiet neighborhood, and there's going to be a lot more trucks towing trailers coming into the neighborhood, and there are a lot of children that play on the street. They ride their bicycles up and down, and we already have issues with people not slowing down the neighborhood. That's a bit of a concern right there, as well as the light pollution. With business coming in, a lot of backyards here, will that light pollution be lighting up their backyards and into their bedrooms 24 hours of the day? Those are my biggest concerns.
Okay, thank you very much for your submission. Are there any others? Sue Savage, you have your hand up apparently. Sue Savage, I believe you are muted.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Through you, your worship. Good afternoon, members of council, staff, and members of the public. My name is Sue Savage. I live at 13 Bob Seguin Drive in Chalk River. My property is located directly next to the subject property, which is an extension of my backyard. I'm opposed to the proposed amendment from residential to commercial zoning. We purchased our home 21 years ago, and based on the knowledge that the land behind our home was residential, the proposed development may affect the quality of life and safety and security in our neighborhood. I'm concerned about our community's safety and security due to increased traffic of larger vehicles on our roads that already lack sidewalks. Additionally, these self-storage units bring along security concerns with their 24/7 access. Furthermore, the bright lights and additional noise will affect our quality of life. Self-storage units are visually unappealing and may diminish the value of our homes. In conclusion, the proposed land use of the subject property with the addition of self-storage units is not compatible with the existing family-friendly neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Sue. Dennis Remenda, I believe your hand is up.
Yes, that's correct. My name is Dennis Remenda. I'm at 17 Bob Seguin Drive, directly behind the proposed property. I do have a couple concerns against the rezoning to commercial. Some of them are already been noted, the traffic or increased traffic of larger vehicles, light pollution. Also, the big concern I would have is water runoff. You said it was a 5.2 acre property. All that storm sewer water or storm water would have to be drained into the city's storm sewers, which are really lacking already. And that's my biggest concern. I'm just wondering why they're not using the business park that's already zoned commercial for that. That's everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dennis, for your input. Do we have any others with their hands up? One moment, please. We're just. Please bear with us. This is new to us too. Corrine?
Yes, good day. My name is Luc Beauchamp. I live at 22 Bob Sigay. I oppose myself because self-storage, sorry, I was just operated on cervical disc last week. Self-storage units would bring people with more ATVs and sleds from the cities. They would store them here and then just drive them here because we have such beautiful trails in wintertime for snowmobiling. My concern is that people would just leave all their machines attended here, would drive up from anywhere from Ottawa and Toronto and everything, jump on their ATVs and snow machines and drive them more around here. So it would create more traffic for us, and it wouldn't keep our town quiet. And that's the whole point of why we moved here, is for the quietness and how we like this down. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Luke. Are there any others? Katrine was up next, right?
That was my name. We have Luke Johansson has his hand
Okay, Katrine or Karine?
up.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Luke.
Luke Johansson?
Good day, council. I'm Luke Johansson. I live on 3 Bob Seguin Drive. I have a few quick points to make about this. I'm opposed to the zoning bylaw amendment. The first is, the Planning Act outlines that, the residents should be adequately informed. I don't believe the residents were adequately informed. This isn't just a rezoning. This is a creation of a new zone. We weren't provided what these exceptions were. And I also went into council asking for further information. It wasn't provided any. And according to Section 10.7 of the Planning Act, I'm entitled to everything provided to the council. Next is in regards to the township bylaws. Section 5 outlines general commercial as a wide range of commercial uses beneficial to the residents of the town. I don't believe that storage units are beneficial to the town of Chalk River. I think the petition with over 300 signatures demonstrates that. And I'm wondering if the applicant has provided, any proof, any surveys conducted stating that this would be beneficial to our town. In the explanatory note of the city bylaw, it states that a zoning bylaw protects the rights of property owners against incompatible land uses. This is often referred to as the quiet use and enjoyment of property. And I think that's exactly why we're all here today, because this directly goes against my quiet use and enjoyment of my property, along with the other residents of Bob Seguin and this part of the town. And finally, it states that this was adopted September 22nd, 2012, and as overall guide for the development of the town. Is the intent of the zoning bylaw to place each land use in a zone category that recognizes the existing use of the property. Storage units are already outlined in the highway commercial zoning. That was the intent of the bylaw. That's where they belong. They don't belong here. And finally, I think this, if you pass this through, I think it sets a horrible precedent that the council would side in favor of a corporation from Ardoch, Ontario, against the actual citizens of the town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone who did not provide a written submission that has not spoken yet? Is there anyone else that we see that there's no other hands up? Now that we're through with the oral presentations, we will hear from those that made a written submission, but also wishes to speak to council at this meeting. And we're just looking for hands up. Nobody?
Happy.
Sorry.
Krista Peters.
Krista Peters? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay, so first, I know I sent my submission in, it's quite long, and I know this isn't to answer questions, but I am wondering if my questions will be answered by email with what I had requested. Is that a possibility, or are my questions just going to be left unanswered?
This meeting here is to receive information.
Yes,
And
I
not-
understand that, but I'm just wondering, like, are you going to reply to the email? I'm not expecting answers right now. I'm just wondering when I'll get my answers.
We're going to be taking in all the information as it stands right now, and we have to go through all those submissions. So I'm not sure what we'll be doing at that point in time. We have to go through everything.
Okay, not a problem. So then I'll just raise a couple concerns. I'm at 15 Bob Sequin Drive, and my neighbors have both spoken, and I have to say I agree with everyone, the points that were made. My major concern is, well, safety for one thing. The reason I purchased this house 2 years ago and gave up 2 more properties that were located closer to Petawawa was due to the quiet neighborhood, the atmosphere here, the safety for my young child who walks to school when school is in every day to St. Anthony's, along with, I think there's about 15 other kids in this small area that walk with her. No sidewalks. So the more traffic that's going to be brought in is very concerning for me because we already have issues. So as for my email, I'm looking for a traffic plan. Have they submitted one? I'm not asking for answers right now. Also, environmentally, have they done an environmental assessment? Because the storm sewage was actually brought up, which is great. Also, a lot of people don't think about this, but wildlife, including birds who are nesting, etc. I know there's policies out there because I currently work in projects that you can't cut trees down certain times of the year based on what's happening with that. So I'm wondering if that's there. Also, I'm very concerned about the home value depreciation. I'm not anti-growth. I'm all about growth, but where it's suitable. So for me, it's directly in my backyard. I want to know what exactly is going to be done if this is built to ensure the residents that our safety has been taken into consideration, our depreciation of our houses has been taken into consideration, that, you know, we're not going to run into any issues. So that's my concern. I'm very passionate about this. And like I said, I came to this town because it was quiet friendly. And unfortunately, if this happens, I will be looking elsewhere because there's no reason for me to stay. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much for your communications. Next up is Kathy Bravado. Is Kathy there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I live at 29 Mary Jane Lane. So the corner of our lot touches the corner of the lot that's the zoning is being proposed to be changed. I did provide a written submission. I also provided the petition with over 300 signatures. So I think it's pretty clear that the residents in this area are very much against this going forward for a lot of good, solid reasons. I would just like to add one more. I did a little bit of research, and in Renfrew County, wherever there's storage units, they're never in a residential area. They're always either in an industrial, highway commercial, or commercial area. So I would just like to make that point.
Okay.
I just hope that council and mayor consider how strongly you've received like as much opposition as you have and make the right decision. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kathy. Corey? Tori?
Hi, I'm
Hi,
Tori
Tori.
Ryder. I live at 6 Bob Seguin. I was actually going to bring up what Kathy had said, that in Renfrew County, there's no storage units that are in a residential area. I mean, in Chalk River, we have that industrial park right off the highway. That would be a perfect spot for this. I'm not opposed to Chalk River growing as a whole. I'm just opposed to it being in our area. I bought this house for my kids. They're 5 and 3. They're just beginning to walk on the streets to the park with their friends. And I feel like I would feel very unsafe having storage units here, bringing that possibility of theft, security, light pollution again. I wrote something written as well. I emailed it to the town, but I wanted to just say that I echo everybody's concerns here.
Okay, thank you very much, Tori. Anyone? Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. So next is for those that wish to speak in favor of the application. We'll start in the same manner and hear from those who did not make a written submission. So is there anyone there on screen that is in favor of the application and did not put in a written submission? Please raise your hand. Being none, then is there anyone who made an oral submission and is in favor of it that wish to speak? Being none. So now, if possible, I'd like to hear the applicant's comments. I'd like to request that he and or their representative speak to the rezoning application.
Good afternoon. My name is James Bell. I represent the property owners. And at this time, they've instructed me to ask for a stay of
We have the volume.
decision, and that we will represent our proposal to council at a later date. I believe we provided that in writing to all the council members and the mayor.
Okay, thank you, James. Does council have any questions? None at this time. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank everyone for your comments. If council is in agreement, recommend that the decision on the application be deferred to allow for time to obtain the additional information. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. So what sort of time frame would we be looking at here?
We're gathering information at the current time. I will have a tentative date to have everything ready early next week, and we'll provide that to council in writing.
Do we want to leave that open? Or should we set a time on this? Okay. Okay, so I'll hear back from you then, James, or someone from your group.
Yes, we'll get back to you early next week. Some of these requested reports take a bit of time to get professionals in place and some time to understand how long it'll take them to do the required assessments. And we're just not at a stage where we can give you a firm answer on how long this will take.
Okay, so council has agreed to allow for some time on that. So I guess that concludes our meeting for today. So moved by John Hoyle, seconded by Ann Giardini, be it hereby resolved that this public meeting for rezoning application do now adjourn at 1:31 PM. And the special meeting of council convene. Your mover and a seconder, please. Or, sorry, it's already moved and seconded. Do I have a vote on that? All in favor? And carried.